All right. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us. This is another edition of our weekly podcast, video cast, whatever you want to call it. We call it the Real Estate Backstory, and it's where we try and expose the soft underbelly of the real estate world here in the Atlanta market. My name is Alan Richardson.
Go ahead.
I'm the managing broker at Maxwell Realty and Realtor Partners. This is Ming Richardson.
My name is Ming Richardson. I'm the compliance broker for Maximum One Realty and Realtor Partners.
So we're very glad that you joined us today. We got a lot of really cool information to go over with you about, the real estate market and trends and that kind of thing. But first, I have to start off. I got to start off with a public service announcement. Okay, so I'm sorry, I hate to admit this, but they've released the top Halloween candy for this year, and Georgia, we need to step it up because here it's Skittles. Now, I don't have little people anymore that really do the trick-or-treating that way, but
as a rainbow,
as a parent, it's like you get one, we eat one, you get one, we eat one. I don't like Skittles, so we need to step it up. Now, in our defense, we are way better than West Virginia, whose favorite is candy corn, or the psychopaths that live in Colorado that give out black licorice. My goodness, who gives out black licorice? Seriously, like all the children in Colorado must hate trick or treating. They're just trying to discourage it. So,
well, they have other items in Colorado.
That's it. So anyway, I know that this has about 0.0% usefulness for real estate, but I just had to kind of start off with a little PSA.
I thought it's interesting.
It is interesting, and those are all the states with the favorite kind of thing. So I'm Reese's peanut butter cups. Those are my favorite, and so I think we're gonna have to move, honey.
Where's it at?
Oh, well, let's just move on. Yeah, we're just gonna move on. So if you've seen in the news, we kind of want to jump right onto something. So you may see something like this, that like foreclosures are up. Watch out. The real estate market is reeling. Watch out for foreclosures. And are foreclosures up? Yes. Okay. This is, if you were to take the last 6 quarters and say, what's happening with foreclosure activity? You can see that it is trending up for sure. And I don't dispute that. But let's take things into, I don't know, context. Because this is really where we sit on foreclosure. So you can see even pre-COVID, we're like at a quarter of the foreclosures that we had before, PC, prior to COVID kind of thing. So is there more foreclosure activity going on? Yes. Absolutely. I don't dispute that we're seeing, a trend, but historically, if you look at where foreclosures were before COVID, we're nowhere near that. So this idea that the foreclosure market is coming and this thing is really going to blow up, it's roughly a quarter of where it was. And
honestly, it doesn't even compare to 2005.
Well, I mean, yeah, look back. Well, but those were crazy times, right? I mean,
2005 before the previous crash.
Well, that's true. That's
so
true.
Therefore, I mean, we're not even anywhere. I will say even a quarter of prior to 2005.
Oh, we're not a quarter where we were prior to 2000 to COVID kind of thing.
Right.
So now, what does that mean for here in Georgia? Here in Georgia, we have the 16th highest foreclosure rate in the nation, which sounds bad, but really it works out to about 1,250 properties, or 1 out of every 3,500 homes kind of thing. And so, it is up, but it is 70% lower to pre-COVID-19. So yes, when you do see that, understand that really is going on, but it's kind of a non-issue. It's something that you'll see the press kind of make up into being a much bigger deal.
Sometimes, you hear all these headliners and then they don't back it up with their numbers. And they don't tell you exactly what the actual numbers are. And so they put a sense of, I guess, false information out in public. And as far as what is really going on. Right. So as real estate agent, this is your job to inform your client, and especially one that says, all I want to buy is foreclosures. And well, you're
Yeah, so
competing with
there
a
are
bunch of
some,
folks.
but yeah, I mean, I think there's like, last time I checked, there was like 9 HUD homes on the entire, HUD home
Georgia,
store for the state of Georgia. So,
that was active.
yeah. All right. Mortgage rates are continuing to tick up. So they're at 3.05 this week. So we have seen them, we were in the mid 2.8 for like months, and then we shot right up to 3.01, then 2.99, then we're back up to 3.05. We're going to continue to see their rates easing up. As the Fed tapers bond purchases, what we're going to see interest rates rise even more. So now is it, I keep saying it, and I know that I sound like a broken record, but let's get our clients pre-approved now. We're having more inventory coming on the market now, and we still have really, really great rates.
Well, the buying power is so much better now at a higher price than it is when you have a higher interest rate.
And then, when we talk about the Feds buying mortgage-backed securities, like what does that really look like? I mean, a lot of times we hear, but like, oh, the Feds are buying back mortgage-backed securities. They're buying. What does that really mean? Well, this is what it looks like when the Fed has bought mortgage-backed securities. And so the yellow here represents what the government has been doing to help keep interest rates low. And so this is a artificially created low. Right now, the fact that we're in the 3s really does show that this is being done by the government purchases of these mortgage-backed securities. So is this going to taper off? Yes. And when that tapers off, that means it's going to be highly dependent on the market. At that point, we are going to be seeing interest rates rising. So understand that, when we talk about the Fed's buying, I mean, they're buying roughly a third of all the mortgages out there. That's a lot of money out there going into this. So Fannie has released some new guidance on how they're going to be going towards writing mortgages for condos. And so we need to be very aware of this. If we're writing, if we're placing offers on condos, especially condos that have that are older or have any kind of planned or special assessments coming up, that Fannie and Freddie may not buy those mortgages, and therefore you're going to see where a lot of mortgage companies, because they're going to sell it on the secondary mortgage market, but if they don't have anyone to sell it to, they're not going to write that mortgage. So you need to, so a couple of things. One is you need to make sure you have enough time on your financing contingency to be sure that for any of your condo purchases. Now, on new condos and that kind of stuff, it's probably not going to be an issue, but if it has any kind of age on it, after what happened in Florida with that one big condo falling down and the other one down the street just about to fall over, that kind of stuff, everybody is really, really anxious about this. So Fannie's put out, stricter eligibility requirements. They strengthened the lender requirements for review of condo and project. And then they have actually upped the appraisal information that's required for on condos.
And just so you know, with HOA, if a condo is in a failing HOA, meaning they have a X amount percentage of uncollectible HOA, Fannie Mae is not going to approve that loan either.
Yep.
So just FYI.
So just be careful with those, because we are seeing where condos are more and more popular now. We're seeing more people move into back into the cities and that kind of stuff. So just let's be smart here, kind of thing. There are fewer backed government mortgages, FHA loans. So you can kind of see, a lot of times we hear, gosh, I have an FHA buyer and they got bought out, or they got beat out. Or I have a VA buyer and they keep getting beat out. Well, I want you to understand that part of that comes to, there's just a lot more conventional loans than there are FHA. This is in the US. And so FHA makes up around 15 to 17% of FHA of all mortgages. VA makes somewhere in the 10% of all mortgages. The rest, USDA is like 1%. The rest are conventional. So conventional really rules the roost. We're looking at somewhere in the 70 to 80% range for conventional loans.
Well, I think this kind of shifted during pandemic. Honestly, down south of I-20, in the past, we see predominantly all FHA loans.
Yeah, we saw a lot
But
of
during
them, for sure.
COVID time, because the stimulus and people are not having really anywhere to spend on their entertainment money, so to speak, they actually have saved that and worked on their credit, and some of them are, instead of FHA, are now eligible for conventional loans. So,
Yep.
and that's what's going on here as well. And of
Yeah.
course, seller doesn't want to take a more
Well,
riskier loan, you know, and that's determined by your down payment, your ability to
Well,
actually buy the property.
I mean, FHA loans were kind of like the stepping stones, you know. A lot of folks started off
First-time
with the
home buyer.
FHA loan. It was for a lot of our first time buyers. And so a lot of times then they would refinance. But let's face it, you're probably not going to refinance at a low enough rate to get rid to where getting rid of the mortgage insurance is going to make sense, kind of thing. You know, in August, only 30% of mortgage loans were backed by FHA, VA, or USDA. So that means that the other 70% are conventional loans. Now, here's the real challenges in the first quarter of this year, kind of thing. 73% of all mortgage debt in the first quarter went to buyers with credit scores of 760 or above.
That is awesome, y'all.
Well, it's awesome, but if you look at where a lot of our buyers for FHA, where do their credit ranges come in? They're coming in under that 760, you know, they're in the 680s.
Well, 640s, well, you can have it less than that, but
Right.
it's a much riskier and also much,
Well,
a lot more down payment.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing 640 to 680, which is not, I'm not saying that's a bad credit score, but when 3 out of 4 mortgages right now are being written to folks with a 760 or greater, you know, those really are tending to go towards the conventional loan side of things. You know, in part, you know, some of this is where first-time buyers are slipping. Our first-time buyer percentage is down about 7% from where we were just a couple of years ago, kind of thing. So we were in the 36%. We're between 29 and 30% of our buyers are first-time buyers. That's a declining trend that we're not real happy to see. And it's actually a little bit surprising because right now the largest segment we have of the population is millennials between 28 and 32 years old. And that is the prime first-time buyer range. But let's face it, if you've been buying in the starter home range, you've been getting beat up through the summer and all the way through. But hey, it's cooler now. Things are turning out. Now, when you say, well, but FHA loans are just as good as conventional, I'm not saying that they aren't good loans or anything like that, but you have to understand that this is the delinquency rates on mortgages based, I mean, nationwide. So, you know, right now, the largest share of seriously delinquent homes or seriously delinquent mortgages is FHA, followed by VA, unfortunately. And then you'll see the conventional and conventional, yeah, Fannie and Freddie are like basically a quarter
of what FHA is.
And for a lender, that's about risk. You
Right.
know, they're looking at how this risk goes. So I'm not saying an FHA buyer is not a good buyer. I'm not saying any of that, but we do have to understand like what does the market really look like? You know, why are the numbers some of the way that the numbers are? Why can't you get rid of mortgage insurance on an FHA loan? Well, this is why you can't get rid of mortgage insurance on an FHA loan, because overall, based on
historic data, and you know, during downturn market, FHA got beaten to the ground, if not sustained huge losses.
Yeah, exactly. So now also this past week, jobless claims fell to the lowest since March of 2020, which was the beginning of the pandemic. So, you know, we added around 200,000 jobs last month, and our overall unemployment rate is about 4.8%. These labor numbers are helping to feed the fact that the Fed is going to be tapering off, because unemployment has been one of the big factors driving that. We're also seeing inflation move up. And so these are going to end up affecting our interest rates long term here. At the same time, on the job market, 4.3 million workers quit their jobs in August. And think about it a little bit, right? Like if you are in the market or if you got a job that you don't love right now, is there someone that's going to hire you? Who doesn't have a shingle out in front of their business, like now hiring, that kind of stuff?
A great migration right now.
Sure is.
So, and it's interesting how that goes.
Yeah. So, moving forward into real estate data kind of thing, pending home sales are up, which is really, really good because this is over last year. And so we're seeing where pending home sales moves up. The average number of offers that we have on sales per month is right at 5.5. So the average listing right now has 5.5 offers. Now, it is not as high as it was. It is higher than you can see it's been for the last year and a half kind of thing. So are we trending down a little bit?
Absolutely.
Yes. Are we still really high?
Absolutely.
Yes. How does that look compared to the rest of the US, you may say? Well, here in Georgia, we're averaging 5.5. South Carolina is 2.7 offers. Alabama's right about 3 offers. Florida's about 4 offers. So we're a little bit heavier. We still have a little bit more activity than other parts of the country. Now there are some that are even higher than us. Indiana, for example,
8.1.
8.1. By the way, they're the ones who really like Reese cups. So I'm thinking about Indiana. So we are seeing.
Yeah. It's interesting. Connecticut had a shift of 9.3.
Yeah.
And so that's interesting.
It's really
I think part of it is New York, with what they're doing currently over there. And
a lot of folks have been moving out of New York. So
a lot of people to Georgia, honestly.
And we're very thankful for that. Thank you, New York. Please come on down. We'd love to sell you a house.
There you
go. So also at the same time, one trend that we've been seeing, and it's been running through for years now, is what percentage of vacation homes are making up the total percentage of home purchases. Nearly 6% of all home purchases right now are second home vacation or vacation home properties. We've seen where VRBO is really, really popular. Now folks are buying a second home, leasing it out for 3/4 of the month, and then using it a weekend a month kind of thing, or a week out of the month to go visit. But where that's kind of helping to pay the mortgage. But you can see where this has gone for the last 6-7 years is that the rising share of vacation homes continues to increase. And so in the past, if you'd said, well, not many people get vacation homes, not many people have second homes, 6% of folks do actually, kind of thing out there. So it is a viable market out there.
Well, with the pandemic where mass gathering is discouraged, so a lot of people are doing these little up in the mountain by the beach kind of cottage homes so they can enjoy it during off season as well.
Now this graph here shows the share of first-time home buyers on existing home sales in the market. This doesn't represent new construction, but for existing home sales, what percentage of them are being sold to
new
first-time buyers? And so before we showed it was in that 29% range. This is about 31%. And it has been dropping. You can see where this has been declining for a while. A lot of this really has to do with inventory, because that inventory is not out there. If you're looking under 250, pricing too. But the availability of homes under $250,000, which is where the majority of our first-time buyers are buying, is tight. It really is.
I mean, it used to be 180, and that's due to interest rate.
Well, I said all that to set us up for this slide here.
So the declining share.
I'm planning, thinking ahead. So, but you can see that right now, only around less than a third, 29% of our homes on the market in the U.S. are under $250,000, and so it's kind of interesting that the percentage of first-time buyers and the percentage of homes under $250,000 is almost the exact same number. Around 29% of our homes are $250,000 less, and only 29% of our buyers are first-time buyers. So, if you look back as far as 2015, 6-7 years ago, that was almost 60%. And if you go all the way back to like 2012, it was 67%. So this to me is very concerning for a couple of reasons. One is wealth in the United States is highly tied to home ownership. And so when folks don't go buy that first home, can you imagine if you didn't own a home last year and where you're sitting now? I mean, we saw, 18-14% property value increases in a year.
Mhm.
Think how much wealth that equates to the average homeowner. If you rented it for the last year, what's that doing for you there? Nothing. Right? You didn't. Now the landlord's sitting pretty because he's probably raised your rents and that kind of stuff. So this is a big deal. We need more inventory at this price point. Really, where it comes down to. Also on the same along the same lines, we are seeing where all cash sales continue to are rising. It has been since 2020 through 2021. It's now where 23%, between 22 and 23% of our purchases are being paid with all cash.
And some of the all cash, once again,
it's not really all
not
cash,
real
right?
Cash, but they're still your industrial buyer that is buying 100 homes per month. They're a true all cash. So understand all cash doesn't mean it's always true cash.
Yeah. All right. So all this came out. And so CoreLogic, who, we follow CoreLogic, they are a huge national company that aggregates just a ton of real estate data. And they have adjusted their forecast for U.S. home pricing. Now, in all honesty, I find that CoreLogic is a little bit more conservative, probably more on the conservative side of most of their estimates. But they're forecasting next year, year over year, a 2.2% price increase in property values. I do believe it's going to be somewhere in that 3 to 5% range. I think it's probably more likely. I don't see us going down. They're looking at month over month for next month to just be 0.3% over last year, this next month. And we're not seeing that kind of, at least here now. Let me back up. This is national data. These are national numbers. I know that here at our brokerage level, we are not seeing flat pricing. We are still seeing modest increases, but more modest than what we're not seeing 14-15%. Not that kind of thing. Now, this is what their projection looks like for the next year. It's still going to be over last year, but they're looking at the values starting to decline over the next, or the increases over prior year to taper off.
Well, you can only increase so much before you just go into an inflation to where nothing is real.
And we don't want to create a bubble. A bubble is bad for us.
I mean, with a reduction of what they're talking about is price increase from month to month and year over year as well. So you can't continue to have a month to month increase and not have any consequences on the economy as a whole. So yes, you can see we actually peaked out probably right out December, January on this graph, and to start, with a downward slope because everybody raised their price. I mean, above what we thought the market would bear, but the buyer were willing because the interest rate was so low. And so therefore, this is the adjustment. And with that decline, I don't want you to think it's a decline in our market, it's decline of value inflating over last year.
Right. It's how much are we increasing? Because I don't know anybody that's making 15% more than they were last year for the average American. We're seeing wages go up, that kind of thing, but no one's making 15-20% more. So I do see us being in that 3 to 5% range, which will make people's heads blow up, but that's really much more healthy for our market, to be honest with you. Now, when you say a market, how has the market done? Like how about other markets over the last quarter? What has the S&P 500 done? It's basically flat, 0.23. It is up. NASDAQ is really tech heavy. And so it actually was pretty much flat too, 0.38 down. And overall, the Dow, Dow is basically your blue chip stocks, your big companies, and they were down about 2% kind of thing. Overall,
which is kind of funny because I look at how much GP gross production that we have done. We actually are up in gross production, and it's kind of funny how that blue chip, your big company, are not sustaining at this point.
Well, but it's not about earnings. It's about the stock market, which is basically legal gambling. I'm just being facetious, but realistically, if you had invested in real estate last year or even last quarter, how you looking? Feeling pretty good. So we want to kind of touch on a negative subject for a moment. So we had an agent. So there was a there was a buyer out of Alabama that purchased a home sight unseen in Virginia. He goes up to the house, sees it, is not at all happy with it, calls his agent, and ends up shooting and killing his agent, and then killed himself as well. So, I know that this is not an everyday situation.
It's an extreme.
But, have we sold homes sight unseen? Yep, we have. And, you have to be really, really careful with that. If you're going to do that kind of thing, you really want to, is the opportunity for buyer remorse huge? It sure is. So, looking at this and seeing like this is definitely an extreme of what, of the negative that can happen. So going Zoom, going live, walking through, doing a ton of video, that kind of stuff to truly prepare them. Still make sure that there's a very thorough home inspection done. I know that things like that a lot of times folks are just trying to get a house, and I don't know any of the real particular details on here, but this kind of thing just breaks my heart. When we have an agent shot and killed who sold a home, remotely basically. And so I don't know any of the background, but it does, it does make my spidey sense kind of tweak up, and I worry. I'm always worried about the safety of our folks and what's going on out there. So we just have to make sure that we really are protecting ourselves.
And do our due diligence.
This is another one where the agent really had never really met this buyer until he shows up to the house with him, and and it ends very, very poorly. So please be careful out there. I guess is what we're really saying. So, more bad news for our millennials is that rents has posted its single largest increase since 2006. And we keep saying, listen, rent prices are going to continue to go up over the next year because rents follow home values between 3 months and 12 months afterwards, kind of thing. When leases get renewed, that kind of thing, rents are going up. So, now rents only jumped up by like 0.5%, but that's a big percent jump in 1 month kind of thing. And so, this is, again, one of those things that I hope that we are, for our renter clients, I hope that we're out there talking to these folks and letting them know that now is really kind of the best time to buy of this year. We still have really low interest rates. Our inventory has a slight uptick in inventory at the same time. The number of purchase applications is down right now. So this is a good time to get in. You're going to have less competition. You're going to have lower pricing than you had. So this is a really good.
And have lifted as well. So that's just one reason why the increase has incurred, because the landlord are taking a huge hit right now, or was taking a huge hit.
So now one thing that is causing that, or one of the other issues that we're having overall, is that appraisals are getting cray. I wish there's a better way to put it, but like right now, well, first of all, we've seen where the price of appraisals has gone through the roof. I'm not knocking you if you're an appraiser, get it while you can, I guess,
But it jumped from $450 to up to $1,000 per appraisal.
We're seeing, well, most of those are rush orders, but now everything right now is a rush order because you can't, the timing on appraisals is really, really slow. We have less appraisers than we've had in years. You have to basically intern with another appraiser for a long time. Not a lot of appraisers are taking a lot of folks in extra. And so at the same time, we're seeing where about 13% of appraisals came in below contract price in August nationwide. A little, 13% is pretty high. Now, during the summer, it was almost 20%, 1 out of 5 that was coming in slightly
because everybody is listening at the top of the volume and thinking that we're going to push, and seller, been encouraged to push the envelope. So, and the appraiser saying, no, this is not worth the value that the buyer is looking for.
So in a recent survey through NAR, 23% of agents said that the appraisals are causing delays, and we've seen that as well, just in the timing and that kind of stuff. And then 12% of our deals are dying because of the appraisals right now.
And
So
it's not their fault. So we're not putting shifting the blame on appraisers at all. Matter of fact, applaud them and keeping the value to where they should be.
yeah,
But just want, as a real estate agent, don't write your contract with appraisal contingency a short amount of time, because that's not gonna work.
yep, you got to be ready for that. We are seeing more single family or single people families in the US. So sole person households has been increasing, gosh, for the last 40 years, basically. And so, this is an increasing trend that we've kind of seen kind of moving on. And so it's not that uncommon to have
One person,
a lot of single
yeah,
buyers out there
yeah,
right now.
and this probably will be a little demand for a smaller home.
Get ready for the winter. Gas.
Ouch. Yeah.
Gas. So natural gas is surging on prices right now. And the government just released a warning, say that on average, it's going to be 30% higher than last year. And so that's going to be a big impact for a lot of our clients. Now, I know that this is not necessarily housing related, but one thing that we like to do and that we encourage you to do is to reach out to your clients. Is now the time to be talking to your clients about, hey, can you add some insulation?
This is a good opening for you, actually, reach out and also to see if your client know if they're buying or selling, or if they know anyone that might be buying or selling.
Yeah, well, and
good opening.
well, but for me, it's about relationships.
Mhm.
Like, if we have some clients that are on fixed budgets and things like that, or even just reaching out to all of our clients, like, how's your weather stripping? How airtight are your windows? How's your insulation? These are cheap upgrades that most homeowners can do on their own. And then when you see the gas prices, and here in the South, a lot of folks heat with gas. I know that we do. And so knowing the gas is going to be going up by 30%, that's gonna be a pretty big impact. When your bill goes up by a third, that ain't no joke. Wouldn't it be great to already be that person that warns and prepares your potential seller or friends and out there to show that you're the real estate expert? And when the prices really do go up, they're like, man, Jenny told us about this kind of thing. And now who's really the subject matter expert again? One other thing that kind of goes along with appraisals is that we are seeing closing costs kind of shooting up. Now, this is another one where there's a story behind here. And so, closing costs are up, but it's based on the sale price, right? What we're seeing is that based on the average, because our average sale price has gone up. So is it more on the percentage? No, actually, percentage wise, closing costs are actually slightly less, but dollar amounts, we are seeing that right now. So, nationwide average on closing costs is around $6,800. Here in Georgia, the average total closing cost with taxes is right just shy of $4,000. $3,800 is about what it is. Without taxes, it's around $2,800.
This is not talking about the escrow prepaid. Okay, so don't think that 4,000 is what you need to tell your client.
No, but we do need to be preparing them. And so if in the past you're like, well, closing cost runs about this, they're about this, or that, blah, 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 blah. So, for some folks, it's like, well, it runs 1% or 2% or 3%, that kind of thing. Just kind of know that this is an increasing cost, that even if you have folks that have bought and sold a home before, will be sticker shock kind of thing. We have a new insulation material that looks to be coming out, and it's pretty weird.
I know.
It's mushrooms.
Fungi. There's fungi among us.
There's a fungus among us, exactly, kind of thing. But this is a really cool thing, and we're kind of excited. So you can actually cut it and so basically it's not like the mushrooms like we're sauteing kind of thing, but it makes this mesh in the ground kind of thing, and then they can cut it and process it. And it's a lot like cellulose, only this is 100% natural product and actually is more effective than regular insulation. So could we be insulating our house with mushrooms in the future? Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I'm sure they're chemically treated to where it won't.
It's not going to keep growing in your house. No, I don't mean that at all, kind of stuff. So in addition to the single family household, I mean, the sole person households, sorry if I can
Yeah,
spit
I
that
have
out.
a lot of co-buyers.
Yep. In the last 7 years, the number of co-buyers has really, really shot up, kind of thing. From April to June of 2020, 11% of buyers purchased as unmarried couples, as in other roommates, buddies, pals, things like that. Co-buying is turning out to be a pretty big thing. And so when you look at 11% of buyers, that's a pretty significant market out there, kind of thing. But here's one caveat. You got to make sure that the lenders are prepared for this. And you need to talk to your lenders, because some lenders are like, okay, I got two people, but they're not married. And they're not in a relationship. They're just friends on a lot of things, on a lot of this kind of stuff. So
yeah,
it can draw
everything, it's like anything else. There's nothing in life that's guaranteed. And even though you may go in a situation where it's for a mutual beneficial and also amicably, sometimes because the season change, we all change, and that situation may have changed. So just kind of prepare your client for what ifs, and that they have the option to buy one or the other one out.
Yep. All right. For our buyers that have buyer's remorse, guess what the one of the biggest issues for their buyer's remorse is? Maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of especially our younger buyers, kind of thing, they're like, like this deal of cleaning windows and emptying gutters and having to clean the bathroom fans. 33% of folks hate to clean the bathroom fans enough to where they now regret buying a house, which I think is silly. It is kind of silly. But to me, this illustrates the need for us to really be communicating, especially with our first-time buyers.
Well, and this is not a finger pointing, so don't think I am pointing fingers, but I'm kind of wondering if these folks were taught how to maintain their properties properly, because if you're not taught, then it becomes a hassle.
Might be. All right. So this week in training, so you can find all these at mx1training.com. So Tuesday we have lunch and learns. It's with the super home warranty folks
in our F4 office.
Yep.
And Thursday, come join us. We have an industry happy hour costume contest at Brick House Tavern in Newton.
Yep. So we got Luter Larkin and Hunter, New American Funding, Apple Tree Insurance, Choice Home Warranty, and us. So you don't have to be a member of Maximum One. We'd love to see you and come out and just to take a load off with all these stress. Yep. And Friday we have Mortgage 101 is in person in Conyer in Zoom. Yep. So please come join us in there. Last thing is we did do Tom Ferry 2 weeks ago. We are starting our the replays, all that is starting this week. Just meet up with the branch managers and they will go through with you on all that kind of information going forward. So hope you guys had a great week or will have a great week. Hope you had a great weekend. Let's try that. And we hope that you have a great week coming up. If we can be of any service, please call, text, smoke signals. We answer it all. Enjoy some pumpkin spice latte. Y'all have a great week. Thank you. Have a good Monday.